That's
What
the
do you need
plan.
me to do?
Well, when it gets closer to it, we'll
from the
go
White
out there
House.
early.
So they're always doing these
Set up a
predictions.
little bit nice to where
Howard and Mr. Waters, everything kept moving.
Okay,
things like that, just to look at it.
very happy.
I know that, and that's what the
So you're just gonna let me know?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, at your
And it may be
service.
that we pick up the food on the way, who knows, we'll figure it
I
out.
don't think we've heard these.
That's underway, underway. Well, and
That was still in,
A lot of us came from
take it out.
yeah,
I don't know why.
no recollection.
but does it say anywhere that you have to? I don't think it does.
Knee replacement.
All that was said.
Getting there, yeah. Mentally, I'm there. I'm just waiting for an opening at the, see, I start
Well, and
Medicare
because you recall it from before.
February
And
1st.
say that used to be in there, but
And they
see, I've
can't,
never.
my doctor can't put in the request for a
This is
surgical
a
bed
forfeiture,
until
so where
February
is it
1st.
talking about the
So,
reservations?
that's why I don't have my date.
There's a-
I know, it's just, I just want to get this
Oh,
done.
absolutely.
Well, if you're like what I've heard about a lot of them, I'll take you up walking around.
I never read
That's
it.
right, that's right. Fingers crossed, and I've been doing some exercises.
So I think somehow, sometime through time it got taken over.
He's doing great. He's
You'll be
doing
able to
really
see him
well.
then. I'll call phone without.
Yes, you
Seek
understand me
consumption
well.
of alcohol. This is all it says, is permitted, and associated payment. There is nothing in there
See?
that says about,
Used to be, I know, $100.
No, I feel really good about that. See, one of them, the lady actually worked
Don't get it so high that nobody will read it.
just because she conceived of the synergy.
Well, speaking of running for mayor,
Hispanic community.
I don't know if I will or not.
yeah,
That's great.
20 years of this. And Jim, you get that email, Jim said,
Yeah.
you'll see. Oh, you still got 2 years, so you won't be running.
that's right, yeah. I run again in 24.
Another definition.
Everything thing is. Made up my mind definitely, you know, but
Yeah, because you got 501c3s, 501c4s.
So Jim just went to Florida and said,
But if you don't run again, I'm gonna be calling you. So you won't be off the hook.
okay. Well, as you know, you pick up the phone. and
That's
call.
right, yeah, that's
he's
right.
blowing and going all the time.
Shannon, are you ready?
Good for him.
That's the first thing, I guess. Call a meeting of the Woodfin Town Hall to order, this being Tuesday, January the 17th, 2023. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item is the consent agenda. Shannon?
So the consent agenda is pretty straightforward, meeting minutes, a couple resolutions for some grant applications that the town submitted last week, and then some board appointments. The one item on the consent agenda I wanted to highlight were changes to the town's personnel policy related to leave accrual for staff. Looking at the draft that we circulated and then the slightly revised version that you have before you, there's basically 4 changes. It looks like a lot of red, but most of that is just to try to make the language consistent throughout the document. First, we need to change the standard work week. Once upon a time, the town worked 4 10-hour days, so Monday through Thursday, we were closed on Friday, 7 to 6, and that never got changed in the policy when we went to 5 8-hour days. So we need to change that. The other significant change is we're looking at changing leave accruals from days to hours. We do that already for payroll purposes. When you get paid, each staff member gets a certain number of hours based on the days. But this way, it's equitable, so if you work a 40-hour, if you work 4 10-hour days on a flex schedule, then you get the same amount of leave as somebody who works 5 8-hour days. You work the same number of days in a pay period, in a week, in a year, so you should accrue the same leave. But based on the old policy, people who worked 10-hour days actually received more. And that resulted in also a different accrual allowance that was afforded our law enforcement officers since they work a different shift. We're not proposing to change their accrual rates for recruitment and retention purposes. We propose to leave that the way it is. But we are also proposing to remove a second tier of accruals that were established for employees who were hired before 2007. At this point, that only applies to a few of our staff, and the accrual differences aren't terribly significant. So we feel like we can go ahead and make that change now as well. The last change I wanted to highlight is that we're also proposing to change your accrual level. So employees who are newer employees accrue less leave than employees who've been here 4, 5, 10, 15 years, etc. And we're proposing to change your accrual level to years of creditable service in the retirement system, as opposed to starting over new. This is again a recruitment and retention strategy. If you hire somebody from another municipality in North Carolina with some experience, it's going to be more attractive for them if they can accrue leave at the rate that they were before at the town that they were leaving. So if you have to start over after 15, 20 years of service, that's going to be a huge disincentive to make that switch. So we are proposing to make that change as well. And then lastly, one other change is the amount of leave that can be carried over. We're asking for a change that would cap that at 240 hours. Before, again, it was based on 2 years, which was established by days, so we're trying to convert that to hours. And it is a little bit less than what it would be for some, it's a little bit more than what would have been allowed for some employees and a little bit less than what would be allowed for others. Again, there are very few employees that have more than that. We're going to give you some options, including being paid out for that time. So I think that also will work out very well. I know you've gotten a few versions of this as we were preparing for the meeting, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay. You've heard the items on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Did you want to ask about?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Okay, we have one in opposition.
Sorry, Mayor, Ronnie, did you have a question that we were?
I do, on the rental, for the community center.
Oh, yeah, I didn't talk about that.
Right, we kind of skipped over it. You know, we adopted a resolution that anytime alcohol was going to be involved, or the people renting the community center had to have a police officer. What happened to that policy?
It's still in place, and they do have police officers.
I was confused with your email about trouble.
Yeah.
Why was there trouble if we had a police officer there?
We might have to get more information from the police officers, but, I mean, they're there, but they're outside. And so what's happening inside isn't always clear to them until it's gotten out of control. And then they do shut it down, but by then, a lot of times the damage has been done.
I just personally think we will lose some revenue by doing away with the alcohol. And we did have trouble before, and that's why the board enacted the police officer being present anytime alcohol was served. Well, I didn't know of any trouble we had.
Yeah, we've continued to have trouble, and like I said, I think, probably having police officers helped in some cases, but maybe not in all.
All of them.
And we still have.
I just hate to blame the whole public for one or two persons
Yeah, it's been more than 2.
too.
Yeah.
So that don't make sense for the police officer there. I just, to me, I mean, you would think they could control it.
What percentage of our rentals have alcohol, approximately?
Brian, do you have an idea?
After we did it before talking about this, we had like 4 last year, and 3 of them caused problems. Like, there's some holes in the walls, didn't clean up, and
But now, we got a deposit for that, correct? And why can't we bring civil charges against them if they damage the place?
We do get a deposit, and we do apply that deposit to any cleaning or repairs that is needed, but it doesn't always cover.
Right, I can understand that, but aren't they civil penalties that can go along with that?
Could be, but I think in most instances, these are individuals who are not gonna be able to pay some of them.
Well, it just, and I understand.
Yeah.
It just seems like to me that we're knocking ourselves out of business. But if it ends up costing more, then
It
we're
has
getting,
been
it,
costing
you know, it,
Yeah.
Is that request coming from the police, though?
I think it's shared between town hall staff and police.
There are some legal reasons not to want to compete with commercially. I'll just put it that way. The Umstead Act says you're not really supposed to try. And there's lots of some defenses of governmental immunity if you actively try to make money on it. So
I got you.
you don't have to.
what is a rental fee with the alcohol?
it was $5.25.
$5.25? Now, how many times we ran it last year? Roughly, you don't have to look at it.
Most weekends, so probably 4 a month, so maybe 35 or 40 for the year.
So it's quite a bit of money.
But most of them
But
don't.
most of them don't do alcohol, so 4 out of the 35.
I got it, but, and how much is it without the alcohol?
$2.65.
$2.65? Okay, I'll be quiet.
Okay, you wanna back up and vote again? I didn't see your hand up a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll change that.
We do.
Okay. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Next item is public comment, where the public is invited to attend in person or view it on Facebook. You have 3 minutes to address the board. If you're here to speak at one of the public hearings, if you want to wait till that hearing comes up, that'll be okay too. Otherwise, if it's general, if you'd come up to the podium up here and identify yourself.
Thank you for having us today. My name's Ramona English. This is my husband Clarence. We actually live in the residential gated community at Crest Mountain in the town of Woodfin. Our community consists of village homes, mountain homes, and series condominiums. Our condos consist of 5 upper units and 7 units in the lower building. There are 6 units that have full-time residents. The other 6 are part-time and reside elsewhere most of the time. All of the occupancies in these condo units are 2 people, and most are retired or elderly. We purchased our condo as our full-time home, and as our bylaws state, we're not able to use it commercially or rent it out. The Series Condominiums has received Woodfin trash for more than 12 years until now. We pay, we pay Woodfin taxes of $2,400 a year, and the total taxes for all our residents in the condominiums is $26,000 per year. We have never seen the Woodfin police in our community in 12 years. We are trying to bring our property values up. Last year, we spent over $350,000 updating our condos, making it new roof and fire systems, blacktopping, as we're doing our part to make our condos a 5-star property in order, which equals more money for Woodfin, for your tax dollars. And we as a residential community and residents and taxpayers of Woodfin would like to continue to have our trash service as it has been for the last 12 years. There's the Reynolds Mountain Community condos that get trash under Woodfin, and they have 50 condominiums and 25 condo buildings. So that means the trash person is stopping every
25 times to get their trash,
Right.
you only have to stop twice
for us. So we as taxpayers would like for the town of Woodfin to reconsider as you are the sole determiner of what qualifies as a unit of housing for us to be grandfathered in to continue our trash service. It has been for the last 12 years. We have no other means to receive trash service without Woodfin signing a contract with Waste Pro. Waste Pro will not come into Woodfin. They've told us that. So thank you for your time, and I hope you'll reconsider this, and, because we still have no
We have no
trash
trash.
pickup.
It's gone.
It was taken from us, as we are taxpayers.
And we are residents of Woodford. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? We've got some names on here. English,
Yes.
Yes.
that you, okay. And Thompson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you all wish to speak?
Do you want to talk?
No, I think it was said pretty well. The Woodfin guys were very prompt and very nice, and we enjoyed their service, and we're kind of at a loss as to what to do at the moment, since nobody really wants to service our area.
Okay.
But we pay taxes that should cover that. And quite a bit.
And the police don't go past our gate, so you don't save so much money because the police don't patrol. So, I mean, they don't have to come out of Woodford, come all the way around and come into our thing. They come to the Crest Center
Because
to patrol because you pay them, but they don't go past the gates.
right,
And we're happy with that. We
Yes.
don't mind that. We'd rather just have our trash.
right.
Okay.
That's important.
Yes,
Okay, we'll refer that to Shannon, I guess, to look into.
we talked with Shannon Friday, and she was supposed to get back with us, and she never did.
I reached out to Waste Pro, I could not get through, and I haven't heard back from
See,
them.
they won't come into the
They
city.
won't.
And we pay taxes, and we are residents.
Yeah, I've spoken with, I'm sorry, but if you could speak into the microphone if we're going to speak, just because we need it for our recording. But you're welcome to come
Go
on
ahead.
to the microphone. I'm Marcia Posner-Thompson. When we originally contracted with Waste Pro, they were planning on sending us out their containers. In the meantime, Woodfin had picked up your containers, and the Woodfin trash people have always been very punctual, very reliable, and very nice. Waste Pro did come out one time, and then I received a phone call 2 days later from Waste Pro saying we can no longer service you because you're in the town of Woodfin. At that point, I called and I spoke with Johnny Brooks, and he referred me to Shannon Tuck, and I left messages on several days, several times a day, and never received a call back as requested. They've taken our trash we've owned our unit since 2011, and it's never been an issue. All of our trash for the lower level is at one end of the building where they're able to pick them up very easily, and for the other end of for the upper level is at the other end, and they're able to pick them up very easily. You literally have to pick up the trash of the person below us and the trash of the person above us, and had picked us up for so long and now no longer want to. Waste Pro says they can't because we're Woodfin. If we're paying taxes, number one, it'd be real nice to have a response to this. Number two, there should be no reason why you're not, since we're paying for it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else wish to speak? Okay, next item will be presentation and report. Shannon?
The first presentation is a guest presentation, I think, from our, Nate Baker is visiting us. Nate works for Content Consultants Inc., which is the group that is contracted to do the town's comprehensive plan, and they are here for their comprehensive plan kickoff, 2.5 days in town, doing a variety of stakeholder meetings and other work. So we asked, since it overlapped with town council meeting, we asked if Nate would give us a short presentation.
Good evening, everyone. It's very nice to be here, and I'm excited to be in Woodfin. So my name is Nate Baker. I'm joined by Christy Carter, and we are working with the planners and town manager on Woodfin Together, which is the comprehensive plan for the town of Woodfin. So here today with you, I'm just going to speak very briefly, give you an introduction, talk a little bit about what led to this moment, tell you how we're going to do this, and what our next steps are. This is the consulting team. So my name is Nate Baker. I work with Quantum Consultants, and Christy Carter works with Traffic Planning and Design, TPD, out of Asheville. So our firm will be focused on project management. We'll do land use and zoning and some other areas of work. And Christy's going to be really focused on the public engagement and interfacing with the public as well as communication. And here's our team. So my name so Nate, and then Fred Lopez, who's in our Texas office, Christy, Teresa, and then we have other folks who are supporting us in our respective offices. So what is a comprehensive plan? You all have one. It's two things. First, it's a process, the process to actually develop the comprehensive plan, to bring the public together, stakeholders, elected and appointed officials, staff, everyone who's involved in shaping Woodfin, to have a conversation about what the future of this community will be. The second thing is the actual document. So what are the actual policies that are in a PDF document online? You can print it out, it's physical, that helps provide guidance for the future. The comprehensive plan really seeks to answer three key questions. So it seeks to answer, where are we now as a community? Looks at what's going on, what are the issues that are impacting Woodfin, both from within Woodfin as well as external factors that are impacting Woodfin. So we're going to look at an analysis of some of the trends and conditions in Woodfin. The second question is, where are we going? Where is Woodfin headed? And that's really where we want to do robust engagement with the community. And so this is where we set the vision for the future, and set goals. What do we want to accomplish in the next 15 to 20 years? So where are we now? Where are we going? And then finally, how do we get there? So how can we actually accomplish that vision? How can we get all of this done? And that's where we put in place policies and we put in place proactive implementation actions. The comprehensive plan is the highest level policy document. So you have all sorts of policy documents and studies and regulations. This is at the very top. This is the umbrella. So it sets a blueprint for the community's future. It's a compass that helps guide your decision-making on a day-to-day basis. It's a playbook for when you make capital expenditures. Where do they go? What are they? What kind of shape do they take? And then finally, it's a messaging tool. So you have a document that you can share and share out with the business community or other folks who are interested in Woodfin. Comprehensive plans are comprehensive, so they cover many different topics. It sort of depends state to state what is included in a comprehensive plan. The state of North Carolina doesn't necessarily require a comprehensive plan, but if you want zoning regulations, you do need a comprehensive plan. Otherwise, it's up to you. It's up to the community what kinds of topics are priorities to incorporate into a comprehensive plan.
Did I hear you say North Carolina does not require one?
North Carolina does not require specific elements of a comprehensive plan the way South Carolina requires certain topics. California requires certain topics. North Carolina does not. But if you want a zoning ordinance, if you want zoning regulations, you need to have a comprehensive.
Why couldn't the town do that on their own?
I'm sorry?
If the I'm confused. If North Carolina don't require it, the town has their own ordinances, why would we need a comprehensive plan?
We're required to have a
You're
comprehensive.
practically
Well,
required,
what
if
do
you
you
go to
say?
zone.
Yeah,
So
It's not like anybody comes along and shuts the town down if you don't have a comp plan.
Well, that's what I thought.
But the law has evolved to where, especially the 160D revision of the zoning chapter, made it pretty much required. I mean, for years we rocked along with references to it in the law that said, refer to your comp plan if you have one, but a comp plan it could be a really squishy thing. It's not like that anymore. Ever since 160D, you pretty much have to have
We
something.
went a long time without one, I realized that, and then I was under understanding that the state required us to have one.
Practically do if you're gonna zone.
If you have zoning, yeah.
Oh.
You do have to if you
Well,
have zoning,
okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
I,
no,
then he said what didn't
asking
have to,
questions.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand, yeah.
So what topics are included in a comprehensive plan, that varies by state. But comprehensive plan should be comprehensive in scope and touch on a lot of different topics, because each of these topics is interrelated. So what kinds of topics are we gonna be exploring as part of this comprehensive plan is really up to the community. It will likely include things like land use and development, housing, economic development, environmental issues, resiliency, public services. All of these things are typically included in a comprehensive plan. So why is the town doing this? It's the same reason that so many other communities are doing this as well. Buncombe County actually just put their draft comprehensive plan online. Other communities in the area have recently completed their comprehensive plan updates. This area is experiencing huge amounts of growth. I worked on the Black Mountain Comprehensive Plan, which was adopted about 1.5 years ago, and folks at Black Mountain couldn't believe how fast Black Mountain was growing. Woodfin's growing even faster, and so there are huge growth pressures, not just in Woodfin, but in the region. It's also a chance to revisit the current comprehensive plan, what has worked well, what has not worked well, what can be carried forward. And then it's this opportunity, again, through the process to actually bring everyone together and have conversations. We've already begun our conversations today, and already we've heard people say, you know, I'm so happy that I talked to you about this issue today because I've learned something new, and we can work together in the future. There was also an effort that we're coming off the back end of. There was some community engagement that was done last year. We're going to work with that community engagement and the community input that was provided during that process, because we don't want to burn people out. We know a lot of people provided input. So we're going to work to synthesize, analyze that engagement, that input, and incorporate that into our process. So what does the process actually look like? We've broken it up into 4 different phases. Phase 1 is research and analysis, sort of the plan for the plan and the background for how this is all going to work. Then we're going to move into phase 2 with the plan, vision, and goals. Following that, we'll work on drafting the plan, and then we'll finalize the plan, and we'll bring it to you for adoption. We'll be working with you and other stakeholders throughout the process. Community engagement is a key part of that, and so we're going to have various touch points throughout the process. And so we are at the very beginning. This is our kickoff trip. You're seeing us for the first time, and we're just getting started now. So we have a variety of different partners in this project, and we like to clearly define some of those roles and responsibilities from the beginning. So we have a steering committee. Not every community will form a steering committee. I think steering committees make sense to include in a comprehensive plan process. And they really steer the process for us. So it's different members of the community that we will touch base with throughout the process. So they are process guidance. We also have stakeholders. We're meeting with stakeholders today, tomorrow, the next day, and we'll continue to touch base with stakeholders. So they provide that key targeted input for the project. We'll engage with the public at large. And our philosophy, the philosophy that we bring to the table is that we want everyone in Woodfin to be able to contribute. We want everyone to be able to provide their input and make their voice heard to the extent that we're able to reach them. That's very important. Elected officials, you all will participate, you'll champion, and eventually you'll end up being the folks that adopt the plan. And then following that, that's just the beginning, because then begins the implementation of the plan. We also are working closely with town staff, and we spoke with several members of town staff today. We'll continue working closely with town staff. And then there's our consultant team. And we're helping to frame the process and provide expertise throughout the process. These are some initial questions that we want to explore. There are other questions that we've heard come up today, and I know that we'll be adding to the list of questions, but just some initial things that we're thinking about. You know, what are some of the tools that the town needs to be able to to manage growth and leverage investment and improve quality of life in Woodfin? How can the town equitably engage its residents about managing change and growth pressure? What placemaking initiatives does the town wish to pursue while protecting and enhancing the things that people already really like about Woodfin? And how can the town re-envision its relationship with the French Broad River? And this is just one part of what we think of as a broad planning continuum. So if we think of planning as a cycle and the decision-making process as a cycle, the comprehensive plan being the highest level document is really the beginning of that. Following the adoption of the comprehensive plan and other types of plans, you have the strategic plan, which is much more focused. You set budgets, and you have your budgets and your CIP. Then you implement those priorities, and then you evaluate and measure those priorities and the implementation of them. How successful are we being? How can we adjust and develop a new comprehensive plan in the future? Here are our next steps. So we will be continuing to interview community stakeholders this evening, all day tomorrow, and then the following day. We're going to analyze those planning influences, and when we're done with that, we will post that online. We're going to conduct steering committee meetings. We have our first steering committee meeting tomorrow, and then we'll have at least four more meetings throughout the rest of the project. And then following that, we're going to develop our vision and goals and move forward with the project. So that's everything that I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question. How long do you anticipate working on this before we have something to offer for adoption?
So we're hoping to have some sort of draft completed by the fall that can then go out to the public. That's what we're calling the Explore the Plan Community Touch Point. So everyone will have an opportunity to take a look at the draft before it comes before you. You'll have a chance to look at the draft before it comes to you, and then hopefully have something adopted by fall or winter. So we want to complete this year.
A year, okay.
Yeah, which is a little faster than most of these processes would go, but that's the timeline we've set out, and I think that we can achieve that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, town manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be pretty brief and just give you a quick update of what's been happening in the last month since my last report. So first, on the administration front, we've had one contract. You could look at it as almost a renewal. We had a contract with RiverLink last year for the renewal is a smaller amount. RiverLink has been one of our partners in the fundraising for the WGB project and has been really instrumental in us closing that funding gap. We still have a little bit more work to do, and RiverLink feels confident that there's more money that can be raised, and so they're going to continue to work with us on that front, as well as just being a general advisor to other aspects related to the project. In the planning department, of course, we've heard from Nate with Quantum that this is our kickoff days here for the town's comprehensive plan. We also have a number of special meeting dates planned for our Board of Adjustment to tackle one of our outstanding land use projects beginning next week and then going into the end of the month in early February. And then we have an RFQ for the Town Hall Town Center feasibility that is still pending. So this is not due until mid-February, after which we'll form a selection committee and go through the different proposals. In stormwater, we have a stormwater assessment and prioritization contract that has recently been signed. This is with Anchor QEA, reported on this previously, so the field work will begin this month and go through April, after which we should be able to report back to the condition of the town's stormwater system is. We are looking at, we do have a draft ordinance nearing completion, and we intend to present that to the council next month, hopefully for adoption. And then we have the RFP still pending for the building demolition and debris removal. That is for the building that's in Silverline Park.
Honey, have you got any bids?
This one's not due until the end of February, so I don't know if we've received any yet, probably not.
No.
Yeah, they usually come in right at the end.
Right.
Yeah. Public Works, our trash and recycling, that is not correct, approximately 100%. It is up. Our recycling volumes are up, I think, about 30%. It is very early days. We anticipate that that number might actually be higher, or the data will demonstrate that it's higher. So we've only got a month or two of complete data, so it's going to take us a little while to kind of really understand what's going on with those numbers. But we do know that the overall waste that's being generated is going down, and that our tipping fees have improved. And we think a lot of that waste is being streamed into the recycling. Police, we do continue to have our 4 vacancies. I believe we are making progress in filling one of those vacancies, and I hope to be able to report on that to you very soon. And we've continued to work with our problem-based learning work group. So our consultants have been performing staff interviews over the last couple of weeks. We have formed our internal team to look at tackling the recruitment and retention problem that was identified. They've been assigned, they've met twice now. They meet approximately once a week. They've met twice. They've been given different assignments, and they are collecting information and doing some research and then getting back together. So we will, at the end of this process, have a report or a presentation of information, some recommendations from this group.
I hear that's going real well.
Yeah,
Real well.
it feels like it is, so yeah, we're excited. We think we're gonna have a good outcome. And then there's been some one-on-one coaching too that's been happening with our consultants between them and the staff as well. And that's all I have. I will say, I meant to add a slide about finance. We are at this stage starting to look at the budget as we start to approach closing out this fiscal year, and things are looking positive. We are likely going to end the year in the black with revenues exceeding expenses, and that is largely due to increases in property tax as well as sales tax. Sales tax was a little bit of a wild card. We weren't sure what to expect coming out, but sales have actually been better than what had previously been projected. So that is really helping push us over the finish line in a very positive way. So we are also starting to kind of look towards the budget work sessions that are planned on your calendars already, looking at the next fiscal year, so it's never too early to do that. Sherry's going to plan on doing a more detailed, as end of the year report next month, kind of let you know where we currently are. But things are looking good overall. And that concludes my introduction. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
On the Crest Mountain issue, is that connected with the rollout of the larger bins?
It is and it isn't. So what we discovered in the process is that based on the town's former policy as well as our current policy, this particular aspect of the policy did not change when we updated it. We shouldn't have been providing trash service. So we've been providing trash service to Crest Mountain, to the condominiums for the last 11, 12 years when it really was supposed to be managed by a private waste hauler. So we approached and asked if, let them know that we wouldn't be able to continue the service, just to treat all of the different multifamily developments in the town equally. And so I think there was some effort to reach out to Waste Pro to contract with a commercial waste provider. I am not sure why. I don't understand the challenge that they're experiencing, that Waste Pro is refusing to provide service. I don't know that Waste Pro is recognizing that we treat this as a commercial establishment, a multifamily development, like all other multifamily developments. So I did try to reach out to their managers, and I have not heard back yet.
The indication that we heard was that there are some multifamily developments that are receiving service through us. Is that?
I didn't recognize the name of the community that was mentioned, so I'll need to get that information. But There is a little bit of confusion. We have townhome developments. We do treat those as single-family. They are eligible for service, but multifamily developments are not, and condominiums would fall under that category.
Can I say something? Right down the street, there's a violation, right down the street, not a half of, there's 5 townhomes.
Those
They
are-
get service.
Those are townhomes, so we consider those single-family.
Why can we be townhomes?
So townhomes are, you own fee simple land. It's like a single-family home on a lot. They actually own a lot. They're treated just like single-family, open to the building code and the zoning code. But condominiums are treated as multifamily.
Yeah, and I heard a statement that we have some sort of ability to determine what a dwelling unit is. It's my understanding that that's categorically incorrect under North Carolina law, that is set by statute by the North Carolina General Assembly. We absolutely do not have that authority. And so if my understanding needs to be modified at a later date, please let me know. But that one portion of what I heard was just, I know to be wrong.
Here, right here.
There is some, I think there is an opportunity, should we discover that there is no path forward for the condominium community, and Waste Pro will not provide the service or cannot provide the service, and if we determine that that is the case, I'm confident that the town and Crest Mountain can come to some sort of agreement where we can provide service. But again, to try to treat everybody equitably in the town, we're trying to see, and also it's just good for us to know why this particular commercial waste collector is refusing service. So I'm trying to understand that as well.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Crest Mountain is a high-end failing subdivision where they have 400 lots up there that y'all don't get paid for.
Correct.
There is, nobody wants to build, nobody's coming up there, the builders don't care, and y'all are losing $2 million a year tax revenue because nobody will build a house up there. Nobody wants to build a house. We've had one house built in 3 years, and the developers don't want to do anything, and the condos are trying to pressure them in to start building. We're trying to do our part to get the subdivision to go. We're trying to put new gates here to improve the whole place. We're trying to do our part to make that better and to start bringing houses in. I mean, these lots have power, they have water, they're ready to go. They have beautiful views of mountains, and we can't sell them. And that's a loss to everybody, to Wood. And I don't know if you know that we have that many beautiful lots up there for sale. Because the contractors they have to pay a fee if they put them up. So they don't put them up, they only have a few. But if those would sell, they would open the whole mountain up. And you got over 400 lots that are ready to go.
The trash comes to pick up.
Yeah, that's what, y'all are losing so much money because nobody cares. And the condos are trying to do it. We're pushing, we're trying to put new gates in, we're trying to do all this stuff. The villages down below, they love trees, they do not want any houses built. So they're pushing against us to build houses. As we want neighbors, we want a full neighborhood. So as a condo, we're the only people there, and 10 houses that are in there out of 400. Trying to build a neighborhood. Reese Lasher, he has the thing, he doesn't care. He owns lots, he doesn't want to sell them. He's going to sell them for his grandkids because they're happy with a failed neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's sad to be in Woodfin with $2 million house, $1 million house is being built right now, and that's it.
Jim, my question's been answered. I think we're venturing off into things that we not only don't have control over. Thank you.
All right, well, if there are no other questions, we can move on to new business.
Any other questions? Okay. If you want to wait right there, we'll start in on the public hearings.
Okay, well, I think Ricky's gonna actually handle the public hearings.
Oh, okay. First public hearing is a request to conditionally rezone 19.5800 acres located off Olivet Road from open use by Buncombe County zoning to Mountain Village, conditional zone MV-CZ. The properties are identified in the Buncombe County tax record His PIN numbers 9721-42-7018, 9721-42-7018, and 9721-41-7625. Property owners are Olivet Development LLC and Bridges at French Broad LLC, and the project contact is Scott Austin.
Thank you, Mayor. You'll just give the presentation for us. So as you mentioned, it is Buncombe County open use, and the developer is wanting Mountain Village. With a recent change in the zoning ordinance in the past year, as you know, Mountain Village now, if you establish that district, it has to be a conditional zoning. So that's the reason why we have a CZ here tonight. And with a CZ, you have to have a site plan. So we'll start off with this first one. So you see here, just real quickly, that kind of yellowish color in the center, that is the open use zoning area with the Olivet development to the north or the upper part of the screen, that kind of whitish or clear view. That's the aerial. So as you see, it's mostly undeveloped farmland or rural landscape. Again, showing the proposed zoning map, the light blue is the Mountain Village, and this would be Mountain Village conditional zoning. So it is a contiguous area, as y'all annexed back in October. And part of state law requires that when you do annex, you have a specified time period to establish the initial zoning. So that Buncombe County zoning, the open use held over for a little while, but we have to establish sub-district, and the requester is wanting the Mountain Village CZ. And as reference here, you'll just remember the annexation plat that you probably got back in your October. It's just over 19.58 acres. And here's the preliminary plat. The existing French Broad Riverway comes across the creek in the upper right, kind of moves southwest back to Olivet Road. And then in the center, you see one main access road coming to a cul-de-sac in the center, and then there's a modified T turnaround there to the right-hand side. It's 11 lots with a stormwater device there at the top center in that common open space. That's the COS. There are some other small, like bioswales or other dispersed stormwater control devices there throughout the development, just for the purposes of not grading too much. This shows you the stormwater plan, though. I just showed you some grading contours. This is not steep slope, so it is not above the 2200 elevation contour, so there's no, per se, grading limit restrictions here. I'll stop right there. So right now they're proposing just 11 single-family houses, which is kind of consistent with what's already been developed in that part of Olivet. Setbacks will be set by the developer, and that's in the packet for you. I think he has 10 foot on the sides and like 40 foot on the rears for this area. So pretty generous setbacks on pretty large lots. So.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and open this public hearing at 5:47 p.m. Does anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak regarding this matter? Last chance. Anyone wish to speak? Okay, hearing none, I'll close this public hearing at 5:47. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve this request. Anyone wish to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the moving the conditional zoning to MV-CV.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Next public hearing, a request to conditionally rezone 5.13 acres located off Sweet Fern Parkway from open use by Buncombe County zoning to Mountain Village, conditional zone MV-CZ. The properties are identified in the Buncombe County tax record as a portion of PIN numbers 9721-61-8759 and 9721-71 -0229. The property owner is Olivet Development LLC, and the project contact is Scott Austin.
Thank you, Mayor, again. So similar situation, this was annexed back in October of 2022 from open use Buncombe County, requested to be Mountain Village CZ. Town has to establish an initial zoning classification. The developer opted for Mountain Village, which is consistent with the rest of the development. And again, because it's a CZ, you must have some sort of conceptual or site plan. In this case, it's a 4-lot subdivision. So here in the upper part of the screen, top center, you'll see highlighted in yellow is the area that was annexed and is going to be rezoned. The lower 2/3 of the property will remain in unincorporated Buncombe County. They're just going to get ready to file the actual subdivision plat, so there'll be a nice clean line where the city limit line will be and the zoning line will be together.
You feel like they'll come back to us?
Oh, yeah, they'll have to come back with that. The county will want that, and they're planning a further subdivision. So again, this shows you the majority of Olivet to the north here. The upper part of the screen is Mountain Village. It's kind of hard to see, but right, it doesn't show up, but right above this is portion of PIN, you'll see a right-of-way. That's the existing Sweet Fern Parkway, so there's already a street in place. It's already built to town standards. So you're basically just going to create 4 lots off the existing road. So very little in the way of additional infrastructure construction. Just more or less 4 lots. So outside of the CZ would have been more likely a minor subdivision. Again, 4 single-family houses. Setbacks proposed, again, like 10 foot on the side, 40 in the rear, and 10 in the front, just for flexibility, because there is some topography. It does fall off steeply from Sweet Fern back away. Again, there's that kind of a sample. This is the forthcoming subdivision plan, was annexation. That's basically got 5 acres. And then here's a conceptual site plan. You see there's 4 lots across, just right beneath Sweet Fern Parkway. So just below that, that's the 4 lots. It just fills in a gap. So if there's any other questions, I would like to answer that. There are, I think we have a suggested motion there for you if you're finding for approval in the packet, staff report, if you want to make that.
Got one question. I think it's sufficiently clear, but I'm just going to confirm. Is our thinking that because we're referencing this as Mountain Village and saying that they'll only have the option to build single-family homes, do we feel that's sufficiently clear to make it, crystal clear that short-term rentals will not be allowed on this property?
Yeah, Mountain Village does not allow for short-term rentals at all. So we wouldn't, absent that statement, we still would not allow short-term rentals. So it's just not allowed, and nor has that come up in our discussions about this parcel, so.
The applicant isn't here right now, otherwise we could ask to clarify that in the conditions, but we can reach out to them, and I think if it's just a friendly clarification, I'm sure we could.
Okay. I think it was clear that that's the intent of what's in there, but just to be explicit, it might make it safer. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll open this public hearing at 5:52 p.m. Do you have anyone wishes to speak regarding this request? Anyone wish to speak? Last chance. Anyone wish to speak? Okay, hearing none, I'll close this hearing at 5:58 PM. And with that, do we have a motion to accept this request?
I will, but am I hearing you, Ricky, to say that you want me to read the whole thing in the suggested motion? Okay. All right, I'll make the motion, but just hang on. I move to approve the proposed conditional zoning as shown on the attached Exhibit A map of 5.13 acres off Sweet Fern Parkway from Buncombe County's open use zoning to Town of Woodfin zoning, Mountain Village - conditional zone, and find that this request is reasonable, is in the public interest, is consistent with the Town of Woodfin comprehensive plan, and meets the development needs of the community in that the request, 1, ensures compatible infill development with the surrounding area by promoting development that is consistent with the character of the existing neighborhood and consistent with the existing pattern of development clusters of single-family with preserved open space. 2, applies annexation as a tool for growth management and tax base enhancement. 3, encourages the preservation of Woodfin's heritage by expanding a community that actively seeks to honor the agricultural history of the area. 4, contributes to a linked system of open spaces. And 5, helps to increase the diversity of housing options available in the town.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Do we have a second?
Second. With all that said, Mountain Village Community Zoning take care of 90% of that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Shannon, do we need to go back and clarify on the last one, we need to do the whole motion on the very first one, or? I go before you.
Probably would be best for
Probably a good
consistency's
idea.
sake. And I apologize for not jumping in at that time.
So let me try it this way. Ron, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to your motion on the previous conditional zoning, incorporating by reference everything I just said.
I'll do that. I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of that friendly amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
But just so I'm clear, community zoning and, would cover all that, correct?
Mountain Village?
I mean, I'm sorry, Mountain Village,
Cover,
his motion with the
Well-
density and,
well, the motion, so the reason we list such a long.
Lengthy motion.
Lengthy motion is because the state requires that the board make a consistency statement.
Right.
And so we try to help you by giving you a draft consistency statement in the form of a motion.
but if you
So
know
it's
I'm
what,
of peace with the whole thing about needing a comprehensive.
Glad you had the-
Ever since one
the
sixty
blueprint.
we went from kind of outlining the things you had to do, and then if you didn't do them right, you could get whomped in court over it. Versus now it's very clear in the statutes, have a comp land use plan and go
Right.
by it. And so
But-
that's most of what this is.
in this particular zone of Mountain Village does the same thing. It's just a lot shorter.
It might feel like a technicality because it is. It's a bunch of technicalities.
I got you.
But it's the new sort of rule book we have.
To keep us out of trouble.
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, one more
And
public
thank you.
hearing. Request to conditionally rezone 16.9400 acres from community shopping CS and Mountain Village MV to community shopping conditional zone CS-CZ. The properties are identified in the Buncombe County Tax Record as PIN numbers 9731-77-8183, 8240, 6140, and 9731-76-5951, 5738, 6851, 6607, 2838, and 1678. The property owners, Tree Houses of Serenity LLC, and the project contact are Michael and Caroline Parrish.
All right, sound like lottery numbers to me. So thank you, Mayor, for that introduction. So again, it is majority of the parcels are Mountain Village. There was just a very tiny sliver that was CS. Just very tiny. I think it was like 0.17 acres, just so you know, it's not very much. So again, on the screen here, we have Buncombe County zoning, just for reference. You'll see to the north, there's some R1 Buncombe County, that's the yellow. And then to the south in green, that's Buncombe County R3. R3 is probably kind of closest to like our R7, it's kind of like a mixture of single family and multifamily in R3. R1's probably more analogous to like an R43, it's gonna be more like just a single family zoning district. So a little bit different, but just kind of give you an idea of what we're up against, what are we abutting against. And then, of course, all that kind of, that empty area, that's the town of Woodford. So, next map here. So, Ms. Bidix with our office done a very good map for us, so good props to Ms. Bidix, she's not here this evening. As you'll see, on the left-hand side, that's Weaverville Road or Highway, that's the CS, the red. And there's a little bit of R21, just a little bit upslope of that, that's that light green. In the center of green again is our subject parcels, requesting from Mount Village to this community shopping CZ. And then that teal or aqua color, that's the Mount Village. To the right of our subject property, that's Serenity, that's kind of what we hear about Serenity, that's kind of the individual parcels or individual houses kind of to the east or right here. And then again, we have the R21 to the northeast. So I think, maybe back up here just a second, I think it's probably important to know that, you know, there was two different developments that actually occurred that had prior master plan approval. One was the Serenity, that MB to the right. At one point, I believe there was like 20 short-term rentals indicated in that master plan. We state that in the staff report. And then there was a later master plan more recently that kind of incorporates this lower, almost like shoe shape here at the bottom half of that. That incorporated 9 short-term rentals, so 29 total. What's proposed today, though, is for a total of 20 cumulatively. There are some existing tree houses on the upper or northern portion of this property, so we'll kind of roll through that real quickly. I can't probably get that, but again, the tree houses here on the top half of that parcel, we have 4 or 5 existing tree houses, and there's proposing additional, was it Mike, 5 more?
There's 7 existing.
7 existing, so 7 existing.
On that parcel.
7 existing, 4 more are going up there. And we'll see some pretty elevations of that. And then again, that bottom half, the villages, that is the later master plan. And you'll see multiple boxes. The left half of that is the actual village portion with 6 short-term rental with a laundry facility, restrooms, and a pavilion for use by guests. And then the 3 boxes along Odyssey Way are 3 other tree houses. So again, it's a total of 9 on the bottom, 11 in the top portion to be constructed.
When is it appropriate for us to ask questions? Okay.
I can finish continuing. If you've got a question specific to this slide, we can fix your pleasure on that.
If it's just a clarification about the slide,
So I'm not gonna try to doom scroll here, but we'll do it quickly. But this is kind of like some illustrative kind of plans of what was proposed out there back several years ago. This is the treehouse area, the upper lot. Again, kind of another oblique view of, so the perch, the Erie sanctuary. Most of these are existing, the dragon olives up there existing. Again, it's focusing on the upper portion. This is kind of like the stormwater plan here. And probably the most upcoming work is going to be on the villages here. So this is just more showing the site plan. Again, there's some retaining walls there to the right-hand side. You see the layout of the buildings. The parking areas for the units, and then there's kind of like duplex, individual 2 houses, and then restroom service buildings to the left. And this is probably one of our most interested in is the grading plan associated with that. As you can see, there's quite a bit of proposed earth movement. Probably, most likely this exceeds what would be steep slope limits, which would be 15% for the parcel. But again, there was a master plan, and so a lot of these erosion control measures were, and this design was created under that master plan and already been submitted to Buncombe County. So we've kind of got a lot of grading work that, honestly, if this was to come in today, we would not be probably looking that this is a feasible plan. We would need some sort of deviation or exception by this board to grade this much.
Ricky, we did get some clarification from the engineer while we were in the hearing, and so the revised numbers, it's about 3.5 acres for the village area, about 1.5 acres for the treehouse area, total of 5 acres. It's about 30% of the site.
Because I think you had
It's
calculated.
about twice what we would normally allow under steep slope.
Was it 2.94, Shane, you had calculated earlier, was building at 15%?
Yes. I think a little bit less than that.
So, yeah, so Mrs. Tubbs found out that it's probably twice what would have been allowed if this had come in after the steep slope was adopted in February, is that correct, Sharon? February of '22?
Yes.
So I'll roll through some elevations just so you can kind of see that it's kind of a, as Sharon said, eclectic mixture of styles. This is the proposed structure. I think everybody's familiar with what's already up there. You can kind of see up in there, what we driven over the weekend or two. So this is the villages or the houses. That's a duplex in the top right and the bottom left, and then there's the individual single-family house. So this is the 6 units. Different elevations of those structures. This is the laundry building and the restroom building. So similar style, kind of, I guess originally they had said Harry Potter Village or something.
Ooh, don't use that name.
Yeah, yeah, that's trademark, so something along that line. So.
16th Century Village.
16th Century Village, okay. And then, of course, the pavilion, that was the last building at the end. And then this is the crater, another one of those tree houses, or individual units. Lotus, the Phoenix, steampunk house. And this was some more recent ones, the Spire and the Superhero. And then Crystal. So, I will say that staff, we got those late on Friday that provided,
Yeah.
so we'll need to double check the heights on the last 3, Spire, Superhero, and Prism. But we did double check all the heights for the other buildings. They were compliant on the height limit of 35 feet for steep slope, which is 35 feet is actually the limit in town.
And those three are below 35 when we get the final.
Okay. And that's the only one I probably was honestly the only one I kind of paused on was this one.
Is it a specific condition that the buildings will be under 35 feet in height?
I would say that, I don't know if I would enumerate, but without an exception, 35 feet applies. So
Yeah, I was just gonna clarify that.
Yeah.
That is, in the Mountain Village standard is no building can be taller than 35 feet, so without an exception being included in the conditions that were.
And I think last time, the only one, in the last, in planning board, there were questions about the steampunk, and then the applicant has brought that back down to under 35-foot average. So that condition was struck in the past 2 weeks, so.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Is this
Okay.
where we,
Is this where we
is
talk
this where we
about it?
talk about conditions?
Well, let me open the public hearing.
Ah,
I'll open this public hearing at 6:12 PM. Does anyone wish to speak?
We often will ask the applicant, Mr. Parrish, if he would like to add anything.
I would always love to get up and talk. So I'm hopeful, you know, people come in to our development and they say, wow, your pictures on Airbnb do not do it justice. So I'm hopeful that, I don't know if y'all have had a chance to look, but if you haven't, I can meet you anytime, take you through, check the quality of these builds. All these builds are around 500 or 600 square feet. They were designed for short-term rentals because that's what we applied for at the very beginning of this process years ago. When I saw Nate give his presentation about Woodfin and what makes Woodfin unique, I think one of the things that sets Woodfin apart when people, that they will be talking about, it's pretty cool now, but when we finish these builds, they're gonna be builds like no one has ever, it's not your traditional cabin builds. They've all of our tree houses have a theme, and they're not all tree houses. Some are underground dwellings. The Crater, which was the first one he showed you, was an underground dwelling. And so we just think we have we're mom and pop operations, me and my wife and a couple of employees, and we've had, if you look on our website, we've got over 2,000 five-star reviews, and people just, if you just read through some of the things that they've written about it, some people came to the tree houses, not because of Asheville, where people sometimes say, hey, we're going to Asheville, let's go stay in those tree houses. They came and discovered Asheville. So we think we've got a really neat concept going, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mike from the board?
Okay.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
I just wanted to clarify and just make it pretty clear, if it wasn't already, that the reason we're seeking, or Mr. Parrish is seeking a rezoning of this property is for the purpose of allowing short-term rentals. The Mountain Village District, even though we've heard several references to previous plans being approved, it's the town's position that Mountain Village does not allow short-term rentals. So those approvals are questionable, and so with Mr. Parrish's cooperation, he was willing to go through this conditional zoning process to formally and conclusively clarify that these projects are approved. And so that's the reason for the conditional zoning today.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak? Last time, anyone wish to speak? Okay, I'll close this public hearing at 6:10 p.m. And with that, do we have a motion regarding this request?
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
What I wanted to inquire about is, I understand this, I've been up there many times. What my concern comes in is still the ridge line has been stripped of trees. It's entirely visible. I'm concerned that these are gonna be sitting right on top of that ridge where we have no trees. What will be done to disguise the retaining walls? We've already got the big monstrosity on top of the mountain that's just very visible all the way from across town. I'm concerned that even the pictures there of the tree houses are showing trees around. There are no trees. And so to me, right now, what stands out about Woodfin is that we have stripped the landscape there. We've stripped a ridge. And that's, I think this, your design, your work, what's up there, I like the look of, but I don't like what's happened to our mountainside. And I'm afraid if we put buildings sitting on top of that ridge too, that's all you're gonna see, or one more time where we have destroyed the ridge line.
So, sorry, I should have mixing this in. In our plan, we do plan to plant as many maple trees as we possibly can. And if you look at where we were, because I feel like I'm the guy getting the credit for stripping those trees, but there are developments around us, without calling any names, that are right below us, that butt right up against us, that trees were taken out.
But we don't see those. We see the ones that have been taken right off of the ridge line where these buildings are gonna
Right.
go. That's
And-
what we see.
And yes, it will be visible. You'll see it from the interstate. But it's not like a Reynolds Village that you see from the interstate. And in addition, we are gonna, I was gonna say 50 maple trees, but we're gonna plant as many maple trees as we can. We've already talked with a nursery, and we're gonna try to just have a burst of color throughout that area.
So one option is to continue this hearing and ask Mr. Parrish to return with a planting plan, showing us the revegetation of these.
I would
areas.
like that
I
very
would too.
much.
I would caution you all to just focus on this property and not property or, any impacts that may have occurred beyond the boundary of this property.
Exactly. I
So,
don't know what's beyond. I just know, right on the ridge top where these buildings are going. I drove up there today.
Ideally, it would be nice to make a revision to the conditions here, but I don't know, I think it's difficult to determine how many trees are needed in order to kind of fill in the gaps. And if you're working with somebody, maybe there's somebody that can help produce a plan.
We can. Is there a way to, just because this process has gone on, and I would like to bring it to a close, is there a way to satisfy the board to say that we will have a planting plan, and that plan should meet some kind of needs? I don't know if there's a way to do that without it going on another.
Not in my mind for me, because we were also told how many trees would be all around the tree houses that are there, and there are not many around them. And so
We've
I
got over
would,
100 trees there.
not that, well, I don't see them at this point.
I would, okay.
Newly planted trees, I assume.
I mean, there's existing huge trees that are, we had Bill Hasher from Biltmore come out, check our trees to make sure that all of them were good because of the incident that happened at Biltmore. So we've got many, I would say 100 at least big trees, and then we've planted other smaller trees. And I'm willing to do this. I'm just trying to move the process along. If it's a planting plan that you want, we're already gonna try to, it's our area. We want it to look as brilliant and wonderful as it possibly can. So that is our plan, to plant a ton of maples.
I think if it were a smaller project, it might be easier to say, we're gonna add a condition that a certain number of large maturing trees or small maturing trees or whatever mix is appropriate are added, and then move on, and you have a plan submitted prior to final construction permits being issued. But again, in this case, it's a little bit hard to know. It's hard to know where there are already existing trees and where additional trees might be warranted, and then how many, and what is the right mix. So I think that's kind of a challenge.
Okay.
I would add too, I mean, I'm in agreement with that request, and I think it's important to stress that what's being proposed doesn't come close to complying with our current ordinances, and that's not something that we should hold against you. I understand you submitted and had things approved back in 2015, but just as a community, we've reached the point where we're only allowing grading for 15% of a site in steep slope, and we're looking at something like double that, where we don't allow removal of trees in steep slope, and we know that some of that's already happened, and we don't allow short-term rentals in this zoning district. And that's being asked.
It makes perfect sense. I'm good.
It's just,
I'm good.
it's a,
We'll bring it back up.
conditional zoning is a back and forth where we just need to see enough to know that we're absolutely protecting the community around there. And I'm of Betsy's mind that having a planting plan in hand is a needed step.
Got it. I would make this suggestion to the board, and that would be that when y'all first looked at this, if someone had that, if they had called me this morning, I'd have had a plan here tonight to show you. So,
If it's okay with you, I'll reach out to you. We can talk about what we typically see on the planting plan. So we'll make sure it covers, it includes all the information.
okay, okay.
Well, and I guess if necessary, to keep from holding Mr. Parrish up, we could have a special meeting once it gets
Well, can we do that?
I mean, would that help any?
That would be absolutely awesome, just so my wife and I can sleep at night when we go to bed.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been over our heads for a long time.
No.
Mr. Perry, I've been here a long time. This has been going on for 10 years.
Is that?
And I understand his,
I agree that would be a nice step to do. I just want to make sure that we're fine with the fact that there wasn't a planting plan when this came before the planning board and we got their recommendation. Would they have to see it before us, or is that not enough of a change?
I don't know, I don't think they would have to go back to it.
Okay, then I'm on board with that idea as well.
Thank you.
All right, we'll coordinate some special meeting dates, and get something together. And thank you for your cooperation in this
Yes,
process.
yes.
As we know, this whole evolution has been a little bit challenging for everybody, so we do appreciate it.
it has been, and I understand that too with Mr. Paris. I mean, the town's caught a lot over that project, but he's already Mountain Village. I mean, he could start tomorrow, and there's not nothing the town could do about it. He's really, in my
I think it's
opinion,
important to say that's incorrect. So short-term rentals aren't allowed in Mountain Village, which is why there's a conditional
other
zoning
than the
before us.
short-term rentals, the only thing that's holding him up.
Which I think is a pretty integral part of this process.
I agree with that part, but what I'm saying, he could start tomorrow building and just leave off the short-term rental, what I'm getting.
Except for the steep
Okay.
slope as well, and the removal of trees and steep slope. We've also passed that since.
Right, but I think he's already met that. But anyway,
Okay, does anybody else wish to speak? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna close this public hearing at 6:20 PM.
Do we
And does anyone wish to make
have to have a date
any
certain?
kind of,
So your procedural options are, you can either table it until, a called meeting would happen. I don't think you have to continue that. You've had your public hearing.
Yeah.
I think it's, so I don't think that you can either continue it until a date certain, which is, then you don't have to re-advertise on 48 hours notice. It's either that or a special meeting, which requires 48 hours notice, and that's if you know you're gonna have a plan within a certain amount of time and you all can meet. You just announce the time and the date, and then you have a notice requirement.
okay, does somebody want to make a motion?
We don't have a date that we know would work yet, right?
And especially with the Board of Adjustment hearings next week, I think we'll have to, and also I'm not exactly sure how long it will take to produce a plan, so we'll have to.
So probably a motion to table it until
Are we not meeting the 27th or something of this month?
With budget?
For the
Oh,
retreat?
The 26th, yeah.
What's the time of day for that?
Anyway, whatever you
All
want.
day.
9 to 4?
9 to 4.
We could do 8 to 3 if it works better.
let's say if you've already noticed it already.
No.
Okay. You could add this as part of that, and then there's your special meeting if you want to do this.
Just take the first few minutes.
26th.
Wednesday of the 26th.
Do you think the 26th would?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue this hearing to our planned special called meeting on the 26th of this same month.
second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that,
We do not actually need a closed session this evening.
good.
We don't, do we? Yeah.
Okay, we are finished with our agenda. Do we have a motion?
John?
That retreat on the 26th was published as part of their calendar for the year, so I don't think it's a special call meeting.
We can still call a special meeting on the same day.
They can handle that business, they'll be here and it's a public meeting, you just need to publish that as part of the agenda, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think what we're doing here is continuing this, it's not only the hearing, we're gonna continue that, we'll continue this regular meeting into that date. And I don't think any further notice is required if you do that. I mean, we have been given and Ryan, you tell me too, if you agree with that.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I think both of what you said in this meeting.
Oh, no.
That was
No, 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 no.
Meeting schedule, so I think you're covered, all bases
Yeah.
are covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if anything kind of builds
Oh,
up.
see,
As long
we
as they
put him
put-
in a
when they
bad
finish this
shape,
meeting,
the down
I'm
there
sure
for this
it's gonna be
dang
recessed until-
short-term rent.
Yeah.
That's not his fault. This project been going on 10 years, ain't like it started.
But stripping that
I agree,
hillside
I
is
agree,
just-
they stripped the hell out of them. Oh,
Continuing it
I don't have a
to
problem
a
with that.
certain- that
No.
coincides with the special
But,
Right, and as long as this meeting is just continued over that.
other than the short-term rentals, hell, he can start building them all.
Yeah, you can, you're right.
Okay, hearing nothing further, I will entertain a motion to continue this meeting until the 26th of January.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, the motion's to continue until 26th at what time?
8, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., okay?
In this meeting space.
Yeah, continue this till the 26th at 8 a.m. You ever been up that early? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.
We gonna sing happy birthday to May?
Too late.
Whose birthday is it?
Mayor's.
It's the mayor's birthday.
State law, you gotta throw them in the river.